come to a screeching halt. Joining me now to react is former aide to Margaret Thatcher, NIle Gardiner. Now, we should emphasize, first of all, Niall, this was one poll. It may very well be an outlier, but just a couple of weeks ago, I was meeting with some conservatives here in New York from the UK saying she's going to win by historic proportions, by a 100 majority in the parliament. What happened?
Well, without a doubt, the YouGov poll this morning sent shockwaves through the British political establishment. This poll showed, according to its projections, a hung parliament in the case of the UK general election for June the 8th. And that has contradicted most other polls which have shown the Conservatives ahead by at least 6 percentage points. Some polls still show the Conservatives ahead by about 12 points. And I think the general consensus in Britain is that the Conservatives are heading for victory, but that victory may not necessarily be a landslide victory, as some had projected. Okay,
but Niall,
2 weeks
to
ago.
the point quickly, is the Manchester bombing the reason why this is happening? The fact that a lot of people say that if she had been more vigilant, if the government had been more vigilant, they would have noticed that this creep had gone to Libya to fight and would have kept him out. Is that what's affecting it, or is it something else?
I don't think actually Manchester is really playing a very big part in all this. There was, of course, a big controversy just a few days ago over some of the domestic policy proposals unveiled by the Conservatives in their party manifesto, particularly policies aimed at the elderly, which did not prove to be very popular. That prompted a U-turn from the government. And so it's been a wobbly few days for Teresa May after a very assured start to the campaign. But I don't think Manchester has actually really played into the polls at all. Let
me just ask, last question. You used to work for Maggie Thatcher. We know that Donald Trump is no Ronald Reagan, but Teresa May is no Maggie Thatcher. Maggie Thatcher was successful at pushing the free market message in the UK. Very successful. She did it time and time again. Why can't Teresa May get that same traction?
Yeah, I do think that Teresa May actually needs to fully return to free market principles, which I think were the driving factor behind Margaret Thatcher's 3 election victories. It's very important that the Conservatives project conservative values, and especially on the economy. And I think that a more strongly conservative approach taken by the Prime Minister will reap dividends at the polls on June the 8th.
NIle Gardiner, great to see you, Niall. Thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Great to see you, David.
Melissa.
Thank you.
Returning to terror, where one Guantanamo